Let's print a Polyboard puffin. So we're going to make a print of a Polyboard puffin. Polyboard is a polystyrene board. You can get them in the bottom of pizza cartons, or you can buy them from Hobbycraft or other shops. I use a pencil to press my design into them. You need a roller, at least one, to roll the ink over them, and a background paper. I use black because any lines that you press into the polystyrene will show up as black. And then you use special printing ink over the top, and you can print lots of different colours. So let's get going. So today I'm cutting out the Polyboard puffin. I've drawn the outline and cut around it to leave a bit of a gap, and now I'm cutting it out with a scalpel. I've speeded it up to twice the speed because it took me a long time to do, because the polystyrene that I've bought is a little difficult to cut. It's normally softer than this. This is quite a strong one, which is great for printing. It holds itself together and makes a nice smooth line instead of the bumpy line that you usually get, but it means it's more difficult to cut out the pieces. So on this particular polyprint, I'm using the cutout method, where you chop out sections of the piece that you're going to print so you can change the colour. So I'm going to print this in white ink on a black card, and so I'm cutting out the pieces that I want to remain black. So if I cut out the pieces and leave a hole, then whatever is printed, whatever I roll the roller over, or the brayer, you can see it next to me there, whatever I roll the brayer over will be white, and whatever I cut out and pop out of the design is going to stay black, the colour of the background of the paper. So that's the intention. So, but it's a little bit tricky, so I speeded it up a little bit. So I'm going to cut out the beak so that it can be printed in red. I'm going to ink over it with the brayer in white so that the white bits will stand out against the black. And I'm going to cut out the holes for what I want to stay black. And then I'm going to do a background, so the bit that's surrounding the bird is just so that there's something to print. So I'm going to print the outside in blue because puffins, like penguins, usually tend to be in colder climates, although they have some in Wales. I don't know if that's cold, it's slightly wet, but maybe not icy. But I think blue is a good background to make the white and the black and the red stand out. So here we go, cutting it out. It's so stiff, it's so hard to cut through. I think maybe I need a new scalpel, a new craft knife. But you can do it using the old style polystyrene. You can use a pencil and just keep running your pencil around the shape until it goes right the way through. Because when you draw the outline, when you push the outline into the polystyrene, you don't want to go all the way through, because otherwise it will drop through. And you want to be able to control which bits you remove and which bits you don't. So you start off just by drawing the outline, and you do it about 2/3 of the way through so that it's a nice deep outline, but you keep the back together, and that way you can do an initial print that just shows the lines. Whatever colour is the colour of the card that you print it onto, that's what colour the outlines will be. So that's why I'm doing white on black, because I want the black lines to show through. So I usually do an initial print in white and then start to add the colour afterwards. And sometimes I like to do more than one print in white, but because I'm taking the background out, then I'm limited to how many you can do. So this, I call it polyboard printing. Some people call it polystyrene printing. And it's like the bits that you get in a pizza box to keep the pizza lifted. and you get a piece of polystyrene in the bottom of it with some of the makes of pizzas, and you can do a print with those, or you can order them very, very cheaply online or in Hobbycraft or one of the art retailers. And I've got my cutting mat there, and so that it doesn't cut into the table. And I've got the flat palette so that you can use the roller on them. I call them rollers. A lot of people call them brayers. That's the American term for them. But in England, just a roller will do. Some people have adopted the word brayer now. But if you're wanting to buy them, you can ask for either a brayer or a roller. And I have two, at least two for each print. One to roll out the ink and one to roll over the top. Once it's been inked up and I've turned it over, I then have a clean one that's always kept clean, never used, to go over the top. And I usually use the palest colours first and then go darker and darker. So I'd start with white, then move to yellow, and then another warm colour like red or orange. And you can gradually build up on top. And I don't tend to wash the brayer. I like to blend the colours. I like to get them a little bit of an ombre going on, a bit of blending. And I think that makes a more interesting picture. So, and then sometimes I'll get another one out to, if I'm doing a dark colour or a contrasting colour like the blue. It won't mix with the, well, with the other colours at all. So, but for this one, I'm only using a couple of colours, so I'm just going to have one roller or brayer for applying the ink and one to roll over the back. So I've got the back of the puffin out now, and that's going to stay black. And then there's the eye. With the eye, it was so small that I couldn't cut it out. So what I did was I just pressed on the polystyrene, because there are lots of different ways that you can use it. You can print straight from the whole square and have a large square and work into it, and keep working and adding more detail into it, and then putting more layers over the top, and all the detail that you add to it you can have showing the colour beneath. So that's what I want it to look like. I'm going to have the black behind. So now I'm going to roll the white ink over the top and roll it. I do it sideways as well, so you don't just get any lumpy areas. So roll it a few times. When it sounds a bit sticky, it makes a sticky noise, that shows that it's ready. Now I've turned it over. I've got one hand holding it all the time because I don't want it to move, because if it moves you get a smudged area. Now I'm just pressing down on all the edges because sometimes the roller doesn't do it, and that's nicely come out, although he's not standing up straight. So now, back to the cutting board, I'm going to cut out the areas that I want to remain white, and then I can go over the background. So I'm going to have the surrounding area that isn't puffin. I'm going to print that next. I'm going to print it in blue, and I'll probably print over that white and make it a pale blue. I don't want it too dark because that will make the black stand out less. So if I do a nice pale blue that's a patchy blue, that will give hints of an icy cold environment. I'm going to put a little bit of red on the tip of the beak as well, so I'm cutting that out because I don't want that to go blue. I want it to be red. And I'm going to put a little bit of an ombre effect on the tummy as well. So that's already been printed in white, but I'm going to add a little bit of a peachy colour later on. So this bit's going to be blue now. So the inks that I'm using are printing inks. I tried in one of my videos, I tried using acrylic paint because I've been moving house recently this month, and I didn't have any ink. So I thought, let's try acrylic paint. Can it be that different? Yes, it was. It didn't apply itself very well at all. Whereas this is specially formulated for printing, and you can layer the colours on top of each other, you can blend them well, and it spreads easily. So I'm now going to go back. Normally if I'm printing a square so I saved that bit between the legs. If I'm printing a square or a rectangle, I will draw a little marker on it to show where the corners are so I can match it up. But this one is a cutout piece, which is different. So now I'm just putting a little bit of red on the beak, and I just did that with my finger, just put a little bit of red on there and pop that in place. Now going over everything with the roller very carefully because things can move. There are two loose bits there. There's the beak and let's see, the beak's moved. That's going to leave a bit of a smudge now. So there's the beak and there's the bit between the feet, and then just pressing down, make sure it's all applied. Okay, there's the red. There's a bit between the legs, and now we've got a lovely shade of blue. Beautiful. So now I'm just going to fill in the bits around the edge so that it's not just left with a big line around the puffin. I am wishing he was upright. I didn't check that when I applied it. When I scan it, I'll swivel it so that the final picture is upright. So just adding blue around the edges. Just filling in the space. I think he's come out very nicely, apart from being at a tilt. So I cut out the beak and just dabbed a little bit of red onto there. And I left a gap for the black. Adding a bit more blue, I ran out of ink there. And this darker area is going to go around the edges. So the bits towards the middle are going to be paler. And I'm hoping to blend it in so that you won't see too much of an outline around it. I think that's working quite well. So this ink is perfectly formulated for printing, and you can apply it really easily, and you can layer it and it sticks very well, whereas the acrylic paint didn't. So there we go, there's the finished puffin.